Boy, it is a picture-perfect day here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Dr. Megan Turk is alongside me, Benjamin Kelly, as we gear up for Game 3 of this three-game set where the Arkansas Razorbacks, ranked 14th in the country, try to sweep 16th-ranked South Carolina here this afternoon. And, Megan, the first two games, Arkansas held on to the victory in Game 1, a 3-2 winner despite a late home run by Carolina's Alyssa Kumiyami. And Game 2 yesterday, a big seventh inning for the Hogs.
Ashley Diaz, a grand slam, and this place was packed. There were plenty of fans out on the grass and a lot of excitement for Arkansas. For them to come back and not look very good in the first 5 innings, that 6th inning put up 7 runs to take the lead 7-4, and then South Carolina just couldn't do anything in the top of the 7th inning.
And South Carolina will have to do it against the best pitcher in the state of Arkansas right now. That is Autumn Storm. She has been nails as of late in her last 3 games. She's allowed just 1 unearned run over her last 11 innings. And, Megan, she was dominant again yesterday coming out of the bullpen.
And she's only given up 4 hits to a really good offense. And I know you and I were talking before this game about South Carolina's batting average, especially with the top 4 hitters in their lineup. And they have just not been able to produce. They've left 10 runners on base over the last 2 games against Storms and Mary Half when she's been in the circle. And they'll need to jump on Storms quick, try to go after that off speed. She likes to bring in that screwball every once in a while and just jump on a pitch that's up in the zone instead of chasing after that drop ball that she likes to go to.
Yeah, South Carolina will lead off with Kenzie McGuire. She's been 0 for 7 in the set. Mackenzie Bosal will bat second and play second base with Jana Jones batting third, playing third. Kayla Drodar is the designated hitter today, batting cleanup, and Kennedy Clark will bat fifth and play left field. Alyssa Kumiyama is the first baseman, batting sixth. Batting seventh and doing the catching is Jordan Fabian. 8-hole hitter is Lauren Stewart, the center fielder, and Haley Simpson will bat ninth and play right field. Autumn Storms gets us underway here from Bogle Park in Fayetteville on a picture-perfect St. Patrick's Day. 60 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, and the wind blowing out at about 5 miles an hour. So McGuire trying to snap out of her 0 for 7. She rolls this one to short. Picked up by Ali Monzo, and she makes the play, and there is one away here in the first.
Even though the Arkansas Razorbacks have had 4 different lineups coming into this series in the prior 4 games, coming into this series against South Carolina, they've been pretty consistent over the last 3, and the defense has honestly done a really nice job. The error number's incredibly low comparatively.
Mackenzie Bosal takes outside. Ball 1. Yeah, that's been a huge factor in this series for Arkansas. They made just 1 error in their last 3 games. The previous 6, they made a dozen total. So they've really cleaned it up defensively. And, you know, you and I were talking to Coach Deifel on Friday before the game, talking about sometimes teams go through hitting slumps and teams go through defensive slumps too, and clearly Arkansas has busted out of that. So 2-0 to Bosal. Hits this one near the middle. Monzo again up to the task. No, she beat it out. Safe at first base on a bang-bang play, a ball that was softly hit, and that'll get Matt Michaels' attention. He's going to come out and have a word with today's first base umpire. That's Matt Johnson.
This ball was just hit off the end of the bat of Bosal. And those balls that are slower for the shortstop, and Ali Monzo is a little bit back behind the bag on that one, behind the base path. Might not have charged it as much as she could have, but looks like that safe call will stay.
Good speed by Bosal, racing up the first base line, so it's an infield base hit. Take a look at that replay here. Really a bang-bang call at first base.
Just off the end of the bat on the outside part of the plate. Looks like barely might have gotten her.
Yeah. First pitch swinging, Jana Jones. She fouls it away. And, boy, that could really turn into a key momentum play here early on in this ball game. South Carolina 0-5 in conference play. And you know the veteran head coach, Beverly Smith, does not want to go back to Columbia with that goose egg in the win column. Johns is a player that South Carolina heavily relies upon. Team leader in batting average, a .423 clip, 6 homers and 23 batted in. Leads the team in extra base hits. Hits this one to third. Backhand play by Bugarin. Off balance to second. The ball goes into right field. Breaking for third base is Bosal. She'll make it without a throw. Great defensive stab by Bugarin, but unable to execute the play all the way around.
And that ball could have potentially gone foul, but I like that Heidi Bugarin catches it in the air. That's a nice high hop. I think on that, you take the sure out over at first base instead of trying to throw off balance and get that lead runner out. So instead of having 1 out and a runner on second base, or excuse me, 2 outs and a runner on second, now you have 1 out, runners on the corners.
Sure enough, as we were talking about the defense, the last 2 plays have been tough. So Duncan will get the put out on the tag. And that ball struck by Drodar. That brings the run home, and South Carolina takes a 1-0 lead here in the first. Been a little chaotic on the defensive side for Arkansas as Carolina has really come out swinging. Autumn Storms has not had a chance to get deep in accounts at all.
And they're not hard-hit balls, so these are all balls that have been left in the infield. Bosal being called safe on the one over to Ali Monzo at shortstop.
So first pitch swing again by Kennedy Clark, rolled to shortstop, and Monzo takes the force out at second base of Drodar. But South Carolina coming out swinging. They pick up a first-inning run on 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 runners left on base. So at the end of a half an inning, it's Raley, the senior transfer out of Georgia Southern. She's a native of Midgeville, Georgia. And she pitched in relief yesterday but did not accrue an out. She gave up 3 runs, 1 hit, walked a couple, but those 3 runs came across on Ashley Diaz's grand slam during that tumultuous 6th inning for Arkansas, or for Carolina. Hannah Mcewen will lead things off against Dixie Raley. Mcewen riding an 11-game hitting streak, matches a career high. She's been on base in 23 straight games as well. So your prototypical leadoff player.
And really only faced 3 hitters yesterday. The first, a 4-pitch walk to Taylor Green. Katie Warwick comes up with a little bloop single out into left field. Kayla Green will then walk, and this is all in that 6th inning after Sydney Parr started off with a base hit of her own. And that Green walk scored Mcewen. That gives Arkansas a little bit of life, and then Ashley Diaz comes up and hits that monster home run. And if you go back and watch some of the videos on Arkansas website, you can see Coach Steifel's arm pumping up in the air as soon as that ball just leaves the bat, not even leaves the field. And Coach Steifel is not someone who gives you a ton of emotion, and you can just tell all of that frustration over the couple of games that they just haven't been feeling it. Obviously, a lot of the seniors struggling all the way through the lineup, trying to find their groove. And that's just one of those, I'm going to release everything in this fist pump because we're so stoked about what just happened.
Yeah, and on the flip side for Carolina, they're hoping to do some fist pumping of their own today. It's a team that's 0-5, and of course these conference games are just enormous. But Arkansas riding the ship, they're 3-2 in league play, and Hannah Mcewen's got a base hit in 12 straight games. How about that going the other way? That was a really good at-bat by Mcewen.
Taking it all the way to a full count, and she is really good opposite field, even if she doesn't think so. She can hit left field, right field, the barrel control that she has, and staying behind those outside pitches and taking it exactly where that pitcher is wanting that ball to go.
So that brings up Taylor Green, and she's plunked and will take her base. So command issues kind of betraying Raley here early on. That was kind of been the bugaboo for her throughout the season. She's walked 24 batters in her first 43 innings, and that's a third hit batsman that she's had this season as well. So a leadoff base hit and a hit by pitch to Taylor Green. That brings up Katie Warwick. One 0 Carolina in this top 15 matchup. Warwick pops it foul, right side. And the count is a ball and 0-2, I beg your pardon, to Katie Warwick.
In that Arkansas game Friday night, 2-0 off the bat of Kayla Green. She comes up with a big 2-run home run in that first inning. She's on deck right now, and then South Carolina comes back with a 1-0 getting ahead yesterday. We saw that here just in this first half of this inning. 1-0 is already our score. But there's a lot of early game scoring, and then the pitchers are really just expected to hone in and bear down in the circle. And we've seen a lot of changes in the circle. Obviously for South Carolina, that's their MO. They like to do that.
Fly ball, shallow left. Shortstop, Kenzie McGuire underneath of it to make the play. One away here in the first.
And Arkansas has kind of gone to that mentality. Mary Half more in a relief type of role in the past couple weeks. Autumn Storm's just pitching lights out. You can tell how much more power she has. She's gained a couple miles an hour on her pitches. Her drop ball seems to be dropping a little bit further, and her spin is really tight.
Raley misfires down and into Kayla Green. As Megan mentioned, she hit that big 2-run home run to straightaway center on Friday night. Good off-speed by Raley, finds the bottom of the zone. Carolina searching for some answers here in the circle. They're hoping to turn to Raley to kind of help out. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Kayla Drodar at some point today in relief. She pitched very well on Friday night, well enough for Carolina to win. And the only pitcher that we have not seen for South Carolina has been the left-hander. That's Rachel Vaughn, the only left-hander on the staff. Ball and 2 strikes to Green. Softly hit to short. 1-2, double play. A big double play by South Carolina's middle infield combination of McGuire, Bosal, and Kumiyama. And that ends a side in the first inning, and the threat subsided for Arkansas. We go to the second. Carolina leads it 1-0. Autumn Storms getting ready to roll here in the second inning. Got that green tie in her braided hair today. Avoid being pinched.
They do have a little hog behind the plate that's in green.
Yeah, it looks nice.
The field guy, Austin, he's awesome. He is here all the time, obviously, but he loves getting this field ready and just being around this team. Both of these squads have a lot of fun. They're very loose, and they play better that way.
Alyssa Kumiyama is at the bat. Cuts through the first one. Came up with that big home run against Mary Half on Friday night to make it a 3-2 game in the 7th inning. Takes down and away here.
And both of her hits this weekend have been the long ball, so a lot of power for Kumiyama. She gets to start over at first base.
Native of Lakewood, California. Had a couple of other good offers coming out of high school as well. Turned down Oregon and Texas A&M. And her younger sister Hannah is already signed to play at SC next season. She played for the travel team, the SoCal A's. It's just been a huge pipeline for, seems like, every SEC program. Three and one to Kumiyama. And she rolls it to third, knocked down by Bugarin. And makes a play. Boy, that drop ball really seems to be working well for Autumn Storms today. She's generated a ton of ground balls.
Nothing left up in the air, and really not the battle and the fight that we're used to seeing from South Carolina. They're putting the ball in play early in their at-bats, but just not getting the fullness of that barrel onto that ball.
Jordan Fabian, catcher, steps to hit now. And takes the first pitch a touch low, not by much. Arkansas trying to sweep South Carolina. Picked up their first series win over the Gamecocks since 2010. It's been quite some time. And now time is called as Green goes out and has a word with Storms. As Autumn's kind of scuffling a bit out there. But it just shows you kind of the way that the trajectory of this Arkansas program since Courtney Deifel's arrival on Kansas 4, now 5 seasons ago. Pretty remarkable. Three and 0 to Fabian.
If I'm Jordan Fabian, I'm looking for my pitch to hit.
Like she took all the way.
And notice that Autumn Storms didn't bring that ball fully over the middle of the plate. That's when a lot of pitchers will run into some trouble, and those long balls happen with the 3-0 and 3-1 counts. She still painted that corner on the inside.
Tried that same spot, just missed a little low. That low strike is, low portion of the zone is not being a friend to Autumn Storms here today. Not really getting that call. It's only the first walk, second walk for Storms in the last 3 games.
Which for South Carolina, that's important to note and to pass along to other hitters. Don't go after that low stuff because it's not being called a strike. Force Autumn Storms to bring it further up in the zone and go to her other pitches.
Stewart smacks this one back up the middle. It's a base hit. Turning it second, headed to third is Fabian. The throw will come all the way to the plate, which allows Stewart to scoot into second base. Second and third with one away here in the second inning as Carolina's threatening for more.
And there was definitely some miscommunication defensively. Hannah Mcewen throws this ball into second base. Nicole Duncan kind of gets out of the way. Ali Monzo was looking to be the cut between Mcewen and third base. But just the miscommunication and a hard hit ball off the bat of Lauren Stewart. Nice job going after that first pitch.
That brings up the 9-hole hitter, Haley Simpson. Comes up in a big spot here as she tries to slap her way aboard. So the defense, we were talking about how good it's been, Megan, in the first inning, and already an error that led to a run and a throwing miscue, which has set up a possible big inning here for Carolina. This ball is tapped to third, misplayed by Bugarin. Everybody's safe, and the bags are loaded for Kenzie McGuire.
And right now you'd like to see some senior leadership, and I think Ashley Diaz is doing so, calling the infield in and just calming everybody down. This is a position that they've been in plenty of times and they've gotten out of plenty of times. And Coach Matt Michael is actually going to take that time out as well and go talk to his defense and see if they can all get on the same page.
That is a second error today committed by Bugarin. There's a big spot here for Carolina, trying to draw some bigger blood here in the second. And you know, if you're Beverly Smith, this is a situation that you need your key players, Mackenzie Mackenzie Bosal, Jana Jones. You need those hitters to come through in this situation because they have been awfully quiet throughout this series. Again, McGuire, Bosal, Johns, and Clark entering action today, a combined 2 for 24, and those are your thoroughbreds that need to come through. Good spot by Storms right at the bottom of the zone.
And the infield pinched in front of the base paths, looking for something on the ground to get that force out at home with just one out.
Grounded to short. Monzo going to come to the plate. The throw is wide. The ball ricochets back. 1 run scores. Stewart scampers home to score. Simpson stops at third and into second base. Driving in a pair is Kenzie McGuire, and it's 3-0 Carolina here in the second. So a third error today committed by Arkansas.
And 2 back-to-back. And for Autumn Storms, that is incredibly frustrating because she is doing her job. She's getting the ground balls that she needs to the left side of the field. Ali Monzo just did not have her feet set to throw that ball home, and it sails over Taylor Green's head.
So second and third, still not out of the woods yet as Mackenzie Bosal is up. Bosal, the native of Yorba Linda, California, named to the USA Player of the Year watch list, so she can be deadly. Hits this one sharply to second. Coming to the plate and is Duncan, and she makes the play as Simpson is tagged out. 2 away here in the second inning. Pretty nice play by Nicole Duncan there.
Coming up, realizing that there is a chance to get Haley Simpson out at home. And the tag behind the plate actually was a little more dramatic than you would expect.
There's a base hit up the middle by Jana Jones. That gets 1 run home. Bosal stops at second, and it is 4-0 Carolina with 3 in the bank here in the inning. Second hit of the series by Johns, her first RBI of the series. And again, these runs are Carolina capitalizing on miscues in the field by Arkansas. Kayla Drodar lashes this one into right center. That's down for a long base hit. 1 run is in. They're waving around Johns. The throw to the plate is not in time. It's a ringing double by Kayla Drodar. And there are the fist pumps from Carolina. They're pumped in their dugout as Drodar does the ditty on second base. How about that? 6-0 Carolina.
And the scouting report on Autumn Storms is get ahead early. She really likes to work efficiently, but she's left that ball over the plate a little bit too much. Her drop ball not quite getting off the table as it used to, or as it has been throughout the weekend. And Carolina has seen her 3 days in a row, and they're jumping on those balls early and often, and that's the result, the 6 runs on the board.
Kennedy Clark is the 9th batter to hit in this inning. There have been 2 errors, a walk, and 3 hits. Bottom of the second inning, Arkansas desperately needs a response. Leading things off will be Ashley Diaz. She had the big blow yesterday with the grand slam. 6-0 South Carolina as Dixie Raley gets ahead early.
And for the weekend, she's only registered 3 at bats. She had those 3 walks back on Friday.
That was nasty.
And it's important in this moment for Arkansas not to try to press. It's still really early in the game. You have 6 innings left for Arkansas to come back and try to chip away at that lead. And Dixie Raley in the first inning just didn't look very sharp. They got out of it defensively. A nice job for the infield to get that double play to end the inning. But right now it's about finding your pitch to hit and staying patient at the plate and waiting for Dixie Raley to bring that ball and make that mistake over the middle of the plate.
Ball and 2 strikes. And if I'm South Carolina, that double play was a huge momentum point, turning point for them, which had some type of direct correlation with the 5-run top of the second inning they had. So if I'm Dixie Raley, I'm trying for a shutdown inning here, and she's off to a good start. They want to appeal the half swing by Diaz. And I'm not totally sure exactly what happened there. The third base umpire came down the line and said something to Raley.
I believe it's an illegal pitch called. Oh. That's the only reason that third base umpire would come over and have that conversation without the check happening to the first base umpire on a right-handed hitter.
Kayla Drodar had a couple of those on Friday night. And Megan, you and I have been calling softball games together for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've seen an illegal pitch before this weekend.
That's definitely something that's been a point of emphasis over the last couple years for the umpires to see a little bit more, particular in the hop, but especially keeping at least one part of either of your feet on the rubber before that push happens at forward momentum.
Fly ball lifted to center. Stewart had her back against the wall, so she comes in to get it. 1 away here in the Arkansas second inning. 5 runs crossing for Carolina, all unearned in that top half of the frame. And Ali Monzo, who has a home run in this series, will step to hit. Monzo, a native of Roseville, California. Kind of a half swing, and she pops it into the seats.
And her first hit of the season, her first hit of conference and first home run of the season came yesterday. And it was one of those that started at that SEC logo out in left field and tailed all the way and hit off of the foul pole. That was just following the Ashley Diaz grand slam. So huge momentum change in that 6th inning for Arkansas. Now 6-0 already for South Carolina. And it's really important for Dixie Raley to kind of stop Arkansas offense, get ahead early, as she's done, and then do exactly that. Get them to chase outside of the zone and put further pressure on themselves in the box.
That rise ball has been devastating for Arkansas batters today as Raley carves up Monzo on 3 straight.
Looks like a completely different pitcher in the circle today than yesterday. Faced 3 batters, 2 of those walks, and just did not look comfortable on the rubber.
Transfer from Georgia Southern. She played her first couple of years down there in her hometown of Midville, Georgia. She gets Nicole Duncan. Strike 1 against her. I beg your pardon, in Statesboro is where Georgia Southern is. But she had really good numbers there for the Eagles. She led them in ERA, innings, appearances, strikeouts, and wins in her 2 seasons. 2017 All-Sun Belt second teamer. In on the knuckles, and Duncan fouls it away. 1-2.
And she needs to live there, especially with 2 strikes. Right in on the hands of the Arkansas hitters. Get that late jump on the rise ball. Get the swing and a miss for the strikeout pitch.
Oh, and she gets plunked on 1-2. That's a second hit batsman today by Raley.
And she was trying to go at that same location, right in on the hands, aiming for the knob of the hitter, but instead hits Nicole Duncan.
But again, for a pitcher, that could be almost working your advantage. She's hit 2 batters, so Arkansas, now she can look at it from this prism as Arkansas is pressing a bit. They may be a little bit more timid. I don't want to step in front of a 72-mile-an-hour pitch
Trust me, at this point, Arkansas will take whatever they can get. However you can get on base and try to get some offensive momentum, you'll do that. Colt Duncan didn't really have a choice but to just stand there and take it. It was almost in the square of her back by the time it got to her.
Sydney Parr is at the plate. She whacks it foul. And outfield playing very shallow against the light-hitting Parr. Get a good look at it right there.
And Raley has lived on the inside corner against Sydney Parr, but because part of Sydney Parr's foot was out of the box as she made contact with that ball, she will be called out, and that's the third out of the inning, getting South Carolina off the field and back into the dugout with a 6-0 lead against home team Arkansas.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Is that a strikeout? Autumn Storms gets back to work in the circle against Alyssa Kumiyama. She swings and misses. 6 runs today for Carolina. None have been charged against Autumn Storms, or that's the remarkable thing. 3 errors behind her have led to those 6 Carolina runs as this ball is sharply hit to short. Monzo up with it and makes the play.
And last inning, Carolina came up swinging in the first couple pitches and did a nice job of just putting that ball in play. Obviously, the 2 errors back in the second inning alone led to those 5 runs that came across to add to the first that they received or was able to come across in the first inning. But she's gotten the ball down, and there have only been 2 or 3 hits from South Carolina that have been really hard out into the outfield. Drotar had that double back in the 6th inning. And then Lauren Stewart had another one punched up the middle. Everything else has kind of been light ground balls in the infield.
Good pitch by the junior out of Temecula, California. Yeah, she's really has pitched very well. And that drop ball has, like you said, yielded a number of ground outs, but the defense has just kind of been playing on some roller skates. 1-2 to Jordan Fabian. She walked and came around to score back in that second inning. 1 out of 5 here in the series. Six 0 South Carolina. Trying to crack the goose egg in the win column in the SEC. 0-5 is Carolina, as this one is off the inside corner. A program that's fresh off a 49-win campaign from a season ago. They won 15 games in the conference. a season ago as well. Trying to avoid being swept for the second straight weekend.
Just a disappointing performance last weekend when they went against Kentucky at home. Obviously dropped those 3. In risk of dropping this game coming in, but now they're up 6-0, putting themselves in a good position, just continuing to put pressure on the defense. They've only had 1 error over the weekend, but it was something that we talked to Coach Smith. She just kept saying we just didn't seem like ourselves. We were pressing too much. We were trying to do too much, getting into conference play.
Swing and a miss by Fabian. And she is recorded out. And Coach Smith told us they just could not find that big hit. In one of those games last weekend against Kentucky, they left 9 players on base. But this today has been kind of that big offensive outburst that they've been waiting for. They only hit a $183 last weekend, and they were scuffed. They were hitting just 140 as a team entering action today, but that batting average has sure gone up. 6 runs, 4 hits today.
And I think the point of emphasis after this series and after the Kentucky series is the left on base. Already 10 so far in this series alone. And the timely hitting, stringing them together.
Going to be a tough play for Monzo. Stewart can run. The throw in time as she's punched out at first. And it's a big 1-2-3 inning.
Third inning, a 6-0 lead for South Carolina and Dixie Raley in the circle. Heidi Bugarin, Hannah Mcewen top of the lineup, and then Taylor Green will come after her. Mcewen with the lone hit for the Razorbacks so far today. Dixie Raley done a really nice job of bringing in that rise ball, changing her speeds a little bit and getting the swings and misses of the Hogs hitters.
So we'll see how Arkansas does here against Raley. As Bugarin will conclude the first time through the lineup. Bugarin, Mcewen, and Green due up here for the Razorbacks. As Bugarin flashes a bunt and takes a called strike. Bugarin, kind of a utility player, making her home at third base. It's kind of been a position where head coach Courtney Dival has been seeking for some options. Taylor Green has played a couple of games at third. Bugarin has really had that spot, but she had scuffled with the bat, which had led her to get a couple of games off to try Taylor Green over there at third.
The only consistent defender for Arkansas, minus in the circle with storms in half, is Hannah Mcewen out in center field.
Good pitch by Raley down and away.
Every other defensive position has had at least 2 individuals that have switched out, or even 3 if you're talking about shortstop and third base. Second base seen a little bit of everything. A ton of injuries right now for Arkansas in the middle of SEC play.
Strike 3 call on the outside corner as Bugarin stymied by Raley. It's a second strikeout for the senior transfer. When she's just done a great job of mixing off speed with the hard stuff, and really, I think, done a really good job of changing the eye level. That rise ball, and then you throw the 2 pitches that go down and away, and you freeze them with just a straight fastball on the outside corner. She's been impressive today.
Yeah, that low rise that's right in on the hands of the hitters, and then the one that's about where the Hog logo on the helmets are, and she's got them to chase.
Mm-hmm. Beverly Smith needs her to be consistent to join. She called I asked her on Friday. It kind of put her in a tough spot as this ball's rolled to short. Great play by Kenzie McGuire to throw out a speedy Hannah Mcewen. 2 outs here in the third inning. But I put her on the spot. I said, well, with all this stuff, who's got the best stuff? Who's your number 1 ace? And she said, well, I feel like I got 3 number 1 aces. And Raley's trying to lobby for a 4th ace. That'd be a full deck, wouldn't it?
That'd be nice, too.
Yeah, that is.
To have 5 pitchers going into SEC and then going into postseason, depending on how their conference play goes. They'll definitely need to pick up this victory. For the momentum, yes, absolutely, but you really don't want to go 0-6 in your first 6 and 2 weekends in the SEC.
Good spot on the inside corner to the right-hand batting Taylor Green. She was hit by a pitch back in the first. 6-0 Carolina. Series finale of this 3-game set. Arkansas took game 1 3-2, and yesterday won 7-4. Changeup flutters in there, and it's 1-2 on Green. Mixing and matching against the freshman catcher.
Really nice job of not showing that off speed too early in her delivery. There's also been a nice balance of the changeup. I know Kayla Drotar on Friday night threw that change a lot more and was able to get Arkansas out on their front foot a little bit. Raley is a little skimpy with her change, but it's very effective as she comes on the inside part of the plate for the call and the strikeout against Taylor Green. Again, getting South Carolina off the field and back into the dugout with the same 6-0 lead against the Hogs.
Top of the 4th inning here from Bogle Park in Fayetteville. Arkansas trailing South Carolina 6-0. If you just joined us, South Carolina put up a run in the first inning and then flipped a nickel in the second. 6-0 as Carolina hunts for their first win in SEC play. Autumn Storms will deal to 9-1-2 after retiring the side in order back in the third inning rather. Haley Simpson leads things off. She reached on an error in her first at-bat in the second. South Carolina trying to pick up some momentum as they get ready for their midweek contest against Duke, and then they will host Ole Miss, a team that beat Arkansas 2 out of 3.
A lot of frustration behind the plate, and by the fans, I mean Taylor Green asking home plate umpire Leah Bowen-Dom where that ball missed. Infield pinched in a little bit, understanding and respecting the speed of Simpson. Simpson, the freshman, was a four-sport athlete, basketball, track, swimming, and obviously softball, but ran the 4x1, the long jump. She was an all-state softball performer.
This one rolled near the circle. Storms has to make quick and cannot do it. Safe at first base as Simpson beats it out. Well, that was a tough play almost made by Autumn Storms. And no contest from the Razorback dugout. Of course, the fans here, they don't totally agree, Megan.
No, this is a bang-bang play, but it just shows off the speed of Simpson down the line, and I think she makes it. It has to be a definitive. The defense beats the runner, and I don't believe that the defense did on that one.
It's the top of the order as Kenzie McGuire tries to lay down a bunt as it rolls foul. McGuire in her last at-bat rolled a ball to short. It led to 2 runs to score as Ali Monzo's throw was way wide. Pitch outside. Ball into strike to Kenzie McGuire, native of Hudson, Florida. Second-team All-SEC player a season ago. Scuffling a bit. She's 0 for 9 here in the series and just 2 for her last 22. So ball is rolled to third base, and the throw, it pulls Diaz off the bag. Everybody's safe.
And I'm interested to see how this will be ruled in the playbook, because that's a tough ball. This bounces off the glove of Heidi Bugarian straight into the glove of Ali Monzo, who heads up play, try to get that out over at first base, but the throw just a little errant up and away. Ashley Diaz trying to go up and keep her foot on the bag, but unable to do so.
They give her a base hit. So first and second rather. Still nobody out. And Mackenzie Bosal is at the bat. As South Carolina threatens for another big inning. Good spot by Storms to level the count at a ball and a strike. And time is called. Beverly Smith's going to come out and talk to the umpire, Matt Johnson.
And there's a couple different things that could be happening within that conversation right now. One, the possibility of Autumn Storms illegally pitching, and Coach Smith coming out and asking why that hasn't been called. Sometimes she tends to get a little hop under, or get a little space under her foot. But it could also be over at first base, Ashley Diaz not allowing the runner to have a base path. But it looks like they actually called, so neither one of those correct. They actually called Simpson out at second base for leaving early.
That's a big break for Arkansas.
Huge. That is a ton of speed now lifted from second base. And a runner out of scoring position now here with 1 away.
So how do you score that?
It goes to the shortstop unassisted.
Easiest play Monzo's made all season. 2-0 the count. That ball is lined foul, whistling past the camera. Hogs are off this week, and they'll be back in action at 7th-ranked Tennessee next weekend to continue conference play. Arkansas already hunting for their 4th SEC win this season. Gonna have to play from behind here this afternoon, down 6-0 here in the 4th. Team that won a dozen games last year in conference play as Storms hits Bosal, and now runners back at first and second with 1 away for Jana Jones. John's a sophomore. She singled it back in her last at-bat, drove in a run, reached on an error in the first inning. And she is a power bat. Again, another one of these sticks that really needed to step up today for Carolina. She was part of that quartet of McGuire, Bosal, Johns, and Clark that had combined to go 2 for 24 here in this series.
And they've really responded so far in the first couple innings as this one punches up the middle. It's going to score 1. That throw goes over to third base. And another one, 7-0 now for South Carolina here. And what a response they've had from the last 2 days.
It's a big, big hit by Jana Jones. Her second of the ball game. She drives in her second run as well. And yes, this is the team that Beverly Smith thought she was going to have this season. And I think that's going to be the end of the line for Autumn Storms. Despite her actually pitching fairly well today. She gets a handshake from Courtney Deifel and will hand the ball off to Mary Half, who will come in and try to right the ship.
And we have to remember the run rule that comes into effect after 5 innings. 7-0 already, but Haley Simpson was called out over at second base for leaving early. That would have actually scored 2. That punch up the middle from Jana Jones would have put South Carolina ahead 8-0. But for Arkansas, it's all about playing behind your pitcher, and you cannot have 3 errors in a game against an SEC caliber team like South Carolina, who's ranked number 16 in the nation right now, and expect to get the job done.
Tough day for Autumn Storms, but she is going to rely upon her teammate now, Mary Half, to help bail her out of this situation. And Half trying to get back on track as well, Megan. She has not had a whole lot of success this weekend against Carolina. She's only logged 4 2/3 innings against the Gamecocks this weekend, and command has been a struggle for her as well. She's walked 4 batters, given up 5 runs on 3 hits this weekend alone.
And we've talked about the injuries of Arkansas. Now we don't know if there's anything physically going on with Mary Half. Haven't been told anything, but it just doesn't seem that she's 100% in the circle. It doesn't seem like she's got that power, the pop, the spin's not there. Her command isn't there, the control of her rise ball. That seems to be going 4, 5, 6 balls out of the zone when she's throwing it up there.
First pitch swinging for Kayla Drodar is pop foul. Remember, she had the big double back in the second inning to bring home 2 runs. Really was the icing on the cake of that 5-run frame. Gamecocks up 7-0 here, trying to get out of Fayetteville with a win. So in contrary to Autumn Storms, what does Mary Half bring?
Definitely up. I know Autumn Storms does have that rise ball, but Mary Half likes to live on the upper part of the zone. She'll come east and west occasionally, and that changeup can be deadly.
2 balls and a strike to Kayla Drodar. Hitting cleanup today. First and second, still 1 away here in the 4th. Arkansas not out of the woods yet. And Carolina knows that they have the Razorbacks on their heels and trying to push them over all the way. And the run rule is 8 after 5, correct?
Yes.
Half's 2-2. Good changeup, and the swing does penetrate the strike zone, and Drodar's down on strikes.
It's a nice response there for Mary Half, coming in and utilizing that off speed with 2 strikes on a 2-2 count. And that's a really good hitter. Kayla Drodar had that double, like you said, 2 RBI back in the second inning. And she's had a nice weekend.
Here's Kennedy Clark. She ripped this one into right field. It's a hit. Warwick comes up with it. They're holding the runner at third base. Everybody's got to get back now off first base. They're going to have a pickle here. Green throws it on to second. Now a pickle between first and second base in Kennedy. Now Diaz throws back to third base. That ball's knocked down, and South Carolina's going to wiggle their way out of that sticky situation. How about that?
And they are extremely lucky that did not result in the end of the inning. And I think Arkansas, that's just the inexperience with all of these infielders playing together. Not the communication wasn't there. I think that ball should have been thrown from Taylor Green a lot sooner than it was. But a nice heads-up base running for South Carolina to get everybody back on a bag.
And now, this could really be a big turning point, as Alyssa Kumiyama is at the bat. She homered in game 1 of this series and doubled for her other hit. She's 0 for 2 today with a pair of groundouts. But the home run did come off Mary Half. But Half gets it down to the count, 0-2. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Swing and a miss. How about that for Mary Half? She gets into the game, brings up with 2 runners on, strikes out a couple, and keeps Arkansas's deficit at 7-0. Great pitching by Mary Half. Hogs will come to bat in the bottom of the 4th, down to 16th ranked South Carolina, 7-0. Last of the 4th inning. Razorbacks will send up the meat of their order. Katie Warwick, Kayla Green, and Ashley Diaz against Dixie Raley, who is rolling here in this ball game. She has not a lot of hits since Hannah Mcewen's leadoff single in the 1st inning and has a pair of strikeouts, 3 strikeouts rather.
Now there's been 3 base runners for Arkansas, 2 hit by pitches, and those are the only 3 that have been aboard for the Razorbacks against Raley. She's done a really nice job with that rise ball today. She's brought in the changeup, occasionally just kind of sprinkled it in some of the at-bats, and it's been extremely effective.
So if you're Raley, now 2nd time through the lineup, you stick with that same formula?
Absolutely. You stick with it because it's been working so far. The adjustments have not been made from pitch to pitch for Arkansas. And right now they're running out of time. They have the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th inning if South Carolina does not score another one and end this game in a run rule.
Warwick popped out to short her first at-bat. A little bit of a delay in the game as plate umpire Leah Bowen-Dom gets a new softball out. One and 2 to Katie Warwick. Ball will reach the seats one more time. Great play made by Fan. Decked out in his hog gear. There he is. Nice catch, man. Bring the family out on Sunday. Enjoy a ball game. Beautiful day. Could not have asked for a better day. Here's a ground ball near the middle. Bosal up with it and makes a play.
And during that at bat, Raley just continued to widen that strike zone a little bit more, an inch off the plate, a couple inches off the plate, and that went about 2 or 3 balls off the plate, but gets Katie Work to chase, and the ground ball as a result.
Kayla Green is now the batter. The DH today grounded into a 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. That was really Arkansas's lone chance against Raley today. That was a really big turning point in the contest for Carolina, because the ensuing half inning later, they went on and scored 5 runs.
Just looks like a completely different team today. Obviously in the circle, Dixie Raley beyond different from what she looked like yesterday in the circle. All of her pitches seem to be working.
This ball is laced back to the screen.
Been efficient on the rubber, and her defense has played really well behind her, including that double play, but just a lot of long-range balls. We've seen a couple of them from Mackenzie McGuire over at shortstop. Great arm in the 5-6 hole.
There's a ball that's whacked out in the left, and Clark comes in. Did she make the play? There's no rule from the umpire either way. Is she out? Is she safe? We have no idea.
I honestly thought that she caught that ball.
I think she did, but the umpire did not rule a safe call, meaning down, or the out. We still have no idea as his crew gets together to try to figure out what's going on.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's Steve McCown's call, and he's the
it's
one
a
over at third
umpire.
base.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he wasn't even looking. He was looking at Kayla Green rounding first base. They're going to give an out call.
Wow. And Matt Michael and Courtney Deifel are not happy about this. That was a poorly officiated play. And Matt Michael, I think she caught it. I think they made the correct call. But what the events that led up to this were not the most efficient. And Matt Michael and Courtney Deifel have every reason to gripe about it. But I think all in all, that Clark did make the catch, and I think it was the right call.
And from live time, we obviously don't have the replay on that one. From live time, it looked as though that caught was made from Kennedy Clark. It's just, there was absolutely no call from either or any of the umpires. No safe call, no out call. Normally you see something. If it's dropped, you see a safe call from one of them. And that's all the way third base umpire.
See if we can get another look at that catch, no catch. I believe, like Megan was saying, I believe in real time that it was the correct call. I think she caught it.
It's even hard to tell on that one.
Yeah.
I do, but there's got to be some kind of either out call or safe call or signal, and that's what the argument was. And you don't often see Courtney Deifel throw her hands up in the air a couple times out of frustration, but she definitely did on that one.
Carolina's hitting all the right buttons right now. They lead at 7-0 after dropping the first 2 games of this series. Diaz ahead in the count, 3 balls and a strike. And she takes at the bottom of the zone, strike 2.
Crowd isn't quite hostile, but they're getting really frustrated with some of the calls that have been made throughout this game so far.
That pitch dropped low. And Diaz coaxes a walk without having to take the bat off her shoulder. So that's the first walk issued by Dixie Raley. And yesterday, Megan, you alluded to her outing yesterday, not getting an out, facing 3 batters. She walked 2 of those. So Raley has had very good command up to this point.
And she's been ahead in the majority of the batters that she's faced, obviously resulting in the 3 strikeouts so far. She has hit 2, but she's only given up that 1 hit to Hannah Mcewen. That was the first batter that she faced. So settled in nicely so far through the first 4 2/3 innings.
There is action brewing in the Carolina bullpen. Left-hander Rachel Vaughn, whom we've not seen, is loosening. Ali Monzo's at the bat. Struck out swinging back in the second inning on a really good pitch sequence by Raley. Ball and a strike to the Arkansas shortstop. There you get a look at Rachel Vaughn, the southpaw loosening. Wave and a miss. Boy. Really neutralizes that swing from Monza with the changeup. Monzo trying to fight up at the plate to prolong this inning. 2 outs. We're in the 4th. Junior Ali Monzo, 1 for 6 in the series. That one hit was a solo shot yesterday. She slaps this one on the ground left side. Off the diving glove of McGuire at short and into left field for a hit. First and second with 2 outs. And the Hogs trying to brew some 2-out magic here.
That's a great at-bat right there for the junior, going to a 2-2 count and then just barreling up that ball enough to get it in the 5-6 hole, out of reach of diving Kenzie McGuire over at shortstop. And right now it's all about getting life for the Razorbacks. The frustration over on the left side of the field in that third base dugout. The Kayla Green shot that was called an out. Kennedy Clark was ruled to have caught that ball. Frustration from the coaching staff, for the umpires not making any kind of visible call. And now you have 2 on, 2 out, Nicole Duncan up, and she's had some pretty good at-bats as of late. Battles really well in the box, but it's all about the consistency of finding the outfield and finding that field for a base hit.
Duncan in game 1 of the series had a huge at-bat in the 4th inning.
That was the turning point for Arkansas, too.
Yeah, that brought home the 3rd run of the ball game and made it a 3-1 score. She had a double that drove home the run, so let's see if she can come up clutch again here as the count shifts to 0-2. Raley plunked Duncan, and this time she gets her swinging. That's the end of the threat for Arkansas. They get a couple of 2-out base runners, but cannot cultivate any offense. We head to the 5th inning. Gamecocks lead the Hogs 7-0. Carolina is trying to get out of Fayetteville with a victory. 14th ranked Arkansas picked up game 1 and game 2 by scores of 3-2 and 7-4. And South Carolina has utilized basically a 5-run second inning. That has been the big highlight today in their 7-0 lead. Defensive change for Arkansas to inform you. Lenny Malkin has come into play third base in lieu of Heidi Bugarin. And Mary Half gets her first full inning and starts out strong against Jordan Fabian on a swing and a miss. There you get a look at Lenny Malkin. Sophomore out of Broomfield, Colorado. Pitch on the outside corner's called a strike. Autumn Storms with the first 3 1/3 innings today. She was charged with all 7 runs, however, only one of those was earned. That ball is smashed foul. Fabian stays alive.
I think that's the biggest stat that's going to come away for the Arkansas coaching staff after this game in particular. 7 runs up on the board, only one of them earned. That is something defensively you've got to clean up. That we're going to beat that into the ground over the next few weeks when we cover Arkansas softball.
Good pitch by Half on the changeup. Freezes Fabian. One away here in the fifth. That's already Half's third strikeout.
And I think it's especially frustrating for the pitchers themselves, though they'll never outwardly say that. Mary Half and Autumn Storms have had really good performances over the course of the season. At times struggled, absolutely. It's going to happen. But when you are a ground ball pitcher or you do a really good job of getting fly balls, but you can't trust the defense behind you to catch them, then you try to press a little bit more in the circle. You try to get more of the strikeout numbers. And then you come away from you're taking away from your own game in the circle as opposed to playing into your strengths and that defense having your back.
Lauren Stewart takes a pitch in the dirt. They asked for the appeal on the check swing, and she did not go. Yeah, there was that number before Storms pitched on Friday night. In her previous 4 games, she'd given up 21 runs, but only 10 of those were earned.
Yeah.
So 11 unearned runs. It's incredible.
And over the course of the season, especially in the SEC and getting into postseason, those extra bats that you're having to throw, the extra pitches, and the hitters that are seeing you 2 and 3 more times than they should be, that's detrimental.
Stewart kind of an in-between swing. Hits it to second. And Colt Duncan makes the play. 2 outs here in the Carolina fifth. 7-0, 16th ranked Gamecocks over the 14th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks.
And the good thing really for both of these teams, Coach Bev even mentioned it when we talked to her on Friday before the game, was we have everything we want to accomplish in front of us. And there's plenty of season left. It's only the second weekend in SEC play. Carolina hitting a lot better today, showing that adjustment and that improvement against Arkansas pitching. And Arkansas is doing this with a lot of their key players injured, a lot of movement defensively and offensively throughout the course of the season that you really can't quite get into that rhythm.
Nothing in 2 to Haley Simpson. She's been on base twice today. 1 out of 2. And she cuts right through this for strike 3. Mary Half has faced 6 batters and struck out 4 of them. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, Arkansas needs some runs. They'll send Sydney Parr, Linny Malkin, and Hannah Mcewen to bat when we return. 7-0 Gamecocks up on the Hogs. Sydney Parr will lead things off for Arkansas here in the home half of the 5th inning. Arkansas trying to just get on the scoreboard. 7-0 Gamecocks. As Dixie Raley has been outstanding all game long. She's given up just 2 hits. She has struck out 4. and has only had 2 base runners advance to second base all game long. And Arkansas has been unable to do anything with it. This ball is slapped down the left field line, slicing foul off the bat of Parr.
And Parr is very lucky that she wasn't called out of the box again. And you cannot make contact with the ball when any part of your foot is out of the box. And I do believe that's what Jordan Fabian is talking to home plate umpire Leobone Dom about, just making sure that she's watching that, because Parr, at least half of her foot is out of the box when she makes contact.
That's a tough look for an umpire.
Absolutely.
You're watching the pitch, you're watching everything, and Sydney Parr wisely wearing those white shoes to kind of camouflage her foot. There's a grounder back to the circle. Raley bobbles it, no chance to catch Parr.
Yep, she's called out again.
Oh, and they call her out of the box for the second time today. And Yolanda McCray looked like she was going to come out and ask for an explanation, but Parr out of the box again. That's just a big break for Carolina.
And I mean, she was 100% out of the box. You can argue that, and you can try to argue it all you want, but the rule change as of last year that any part of your foot cannot be out of that box and off the chalk while you make contact with the ball. And there it is, half of her foot at least. And she's frustrated. She's obviously frustrated. This is something their entire life. If you're a slapper, you've come up from when you were probably 10, 12 years old, all the way through high school and through your first year of college, where you can have any part of your foot out as long as part of it is touching that chalk. That rule is completely reversed, and I think it's changed the game of slappers, because now they've had to really rework their footwork and their placement in the box, and it's all mental.
I wonder what led to that rule change. As Lenny Malkin gets her first at-bat, she takes a strike.
Probably a lot of coaches who were former pitchers looking at the slappers just taking complete advantage. It's kind of like the hit by pitch rule. You can't lean into it anymore. Just making sure that the integrity of the game is trying to keep intact. That one's a tough one, though.
Yeah, that's a tough break. Because if you look at it, as Malkin cuts through and misses, strike 3. That's the 5th punch out for Dixie Raley today, and we're back to the top of the lineup in Hannah Mcugh. You know, pitchers have the advantage already, theoretically. And if I'm a hitter, I'm a little torqued about that. Quite honestly.
Tell me more.
Well, I'm just looking it through the eyes of a hitter.
And it's a very discriminatory rule, right?
Yeah.
Because it's only against slappers.
Right.
And you can start with your foot on the chalk. You can't be quite out when you start, but it's only a slapper rule. And it came into effect at the beginning of the season. It wasn't even something they had the entire offseason to work on. It was, January, as soon as you get back on campus, oh, by the way, we've got to really work on this, and this will be a point of emphasis for umpires this season.
Base is empty, 2 outs. Raley looking for her sixth strikeout. And looking to retire the side in order. Hannah Mcugh 1 out of 2 today. She singled back in the first inning to prolong her career best hitting streak at 12 games and has now reached base safely in 24 consecutive games. And she pops this one foul with room. Johns has it, and the inning comes to a close. So the Hogs continue to be stifled by Dixie Raley and Carolina. The Gamecocks lead it 7-0 as we go to the 6th. again, this is a team that's just a season removed from 49 wins in a super regional berth and picking up 15 wins in conference play last year. So, bit of a surprise that they're off to this slow of a start.
Well, and they played a very good team in Kentucky last weekend. The sweep, the 0-3 sweep at home, and I think that was the hardest part to swallow was they didn't play South Carolina ball. They tried to press too much. Their defense, which is normally really solid, was kind of all over the place. The throws were a little bit of everywhere, miscommunications in the outfield, and just they weren't performing offensively. And then they went against the midweek Bryant doubleheader. Nice job, offensive explosion, a ton of home runs during that Wednesday 2-win day. And then they come in here, drop the first game, drop a 4-0 lead late in the second game yesterday, and they've come out with a vengeance today. 7 runs on the board, 5 in the second, and then split 2 more over the first and fourth innings. But they did a really nice job getting ahead or going out early against Autumn Storms, putting the ball in play and forcing Arkansas to make their own errors.
Fly ball out to left. Parr makes a catch. The ball's up there for a long time. That loss to Kentucky, that was the first time that they lost a series to the Wildcats in Columbia since 2007. Just to continue to further contextualize how rare that is for this South Carolina team. This is Mackenzie Bosal. She's got a hit and 2 at-bats today. She was hit by a pitch back in the 4th inning. Mary Half delivers a 1-0, and Bosal whacks this one into the air left center. That one hit fairly deep, but Parr up to the task to make the catch in left center. 2 outs here in the Carolina 6th inning.
Mary Half came in against Kayla Drotar back in the 4th inning, and she's already had 4 strikeouts since, and she's done a nice job. She looks a little bit more comfortable in the circle. Her speed is back. Her rise ball is believable, and actually having the Gamecocks swing at that ball instead of it being so far over their head that it's not even a threat pitch.
Facing Jana Jones here. Jones had the base hit that knocked Autumn Storms out of the game in the 4th inning. Just misses above the strike zone. Boy, that was a close pitch, and you hear the barks from the Bogle crowd. Two 2-0 to Johns. Kayla Drotar is on deck. She's a right-handed batter. She doubled during that 5-run second inning to drive home 2. And some jeers coming from the crowd now. They're saying it's about time, Blue. Three balls and a strike. And same spot again by Mary Half. Same result, full count. So a 2-out walk to Jana Jones will bring Drotar to the plate.
Jana Jones has had a day. A couple RBI, had 2 singles on the day. Just been retired once. That was back in the 1st inning. And actually, even then, it was a fielder's choice, so still put the ball in play.
Drotar whacks this one down the left field line. Foul. She got a lot of that one. And she was looking to do that. That was her full intent on that opening pitch. Drotar struck out against Half back in the 4th inning. 1 for 3 today. She pitched on Friday night. She's the DH here this afternoon.
Coming into this game today, she was hitting over 340 and just sub 200 in conference. So still trying to find the comfortability going up against the SEC pitching on the weekends.
Just off the outside corner that time. 2 balls and a strike to Drodar. She's 3 out of 9 in this series. Couple of doubles and 3 runs batted in. Hits this one down the left field line. Parr another chance. Crossing into foul ground. She makes the catch. And that completes the inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Hogs need some runs as Carolina tries to secure their first SEC win of the season. 7-0 Gamecocks. Two, 3, and 4 due up for Arkansas as Dixie Raley readies in the circle for the bottom of the 6th. Carolina had a run in the first, 5 unearned runs in the second inning, and another tally in the 4th. It's been all of them today. Dixie Raley has pitched a very low-pressure game this afternoon. She has not had, talk about leverage pitches, high leverage pitches. She's not had a whole lot of those today. Arkansas has just had 2 batters in scoring position. And Raley has retired 4 in a row. She's looked outstanding today.
And she's going against this Arkansas team, put up 10 runs over the last 2 games on 12 hits, and she's limited them to just 2. 1 to Hannah Mcewen back in the 1st, and then Ali Monzo comes up with a hit back in the 4th. And she's just mixed those pitches really well, brought in that rise ball. That's been fooling the hitters. They've started to press. They actually started to press back in that 1st inning. It seemed that they never got comfortable in the box against Dixie in the circle.
This is upstairs with this rise ball. It's only her 6th start of the season as well. It's her 15th total appearance. Came in with an earned run average of 314. Made a couple of relief outings against Kentucky last weekend. And she just misses here. Oh boy, and a flabbergasted look by Dixie Raley. You couldn't see it from our camera angle just a moment ago, but she literally, her jaw dropped.
Jaw dropped, wondering where that missed. And I was kind of thinking a very similar thought, exactly where did that miss and how difficult that is for Taylor Green to take that pitch. And for South Carolina being such a pitching staff with the depth that they have in the circle, 5 pitchers, they've used 4 of them this weekend.
Yeah, Beverly Smith said that they rarely have complete games. Yep. And, well, as this ball is looped down the line, foul off the bat of Green. As a matter of fact, they've had just 2 complete games the entire season, both thrown by Kayla Drodar.
And I think you keep Dixie Raley in
Oh,
here.
absolutely.
Yeah, she's throwing really well. Her pitch count is low. She's only at 80 right now. She's done a really nice job. Balls and strikes, 54 strikes to the 26 balls that she's thrown.
I beg your pardon, I misspoke there. Correct myself as this ball hits Taylor Green. She's been plunked by 2 pitches today. They've had 2 complete games in league play. They've had 10 total on the season. And Dixie Raley, 3 of her 5 starts this year have been complete games. So that number looks a little more reasonable. I thought 2 was low. Reading the wrong stat line.
She just looks confident, comfortable. As you said, when your offense puts up 6 runs in the first 2 innings, it gives you a little bit of leeway to play a little bit more with your pitches. Not as much pressure in the circle.
This ball caroms off the mid of Fabian and ricochets to the backstop. That'll be a pass ball on her. Kind of an uncharacteristic error made by this South Carolina team today. They have not made many mistakes. 7-0 ball game. Arkansas trying to crack the 0. As Warwick fouls this one away, coming back. I was ready. Green on second base is only the 3rd runner Arkansas has had in scoring position all day today. They are a combined 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. They need Katie Warwick here to come up with a big hit. If she could, I think a home run here would be huge. You know, you talk to coaches and managers of softball and baseball. This ball is ripped foul. Look out. All of her teammates huddled in one section of the dugout like a can of sardines, and then they just scatter.
Well, they put that new net up this season, and there's only the opening that you can walk through, and that's just the opening that Katie Warwick sent that ball into. And so all of them, you're right, scattered immediately. It's like turning on the lights of little kids who aren't supposed to be up.
But if Warwick can get a good pitch to hit here and do something with it, could change the complexion. Diving catch made by Kumiyama. Back to second to double off the runner. Not in time as Green got back. Boy, oh boy. That was about the antithesis of what Katie Warwick wanted. And good job, good heads-up base running by Taylor Green to avoid being doubled off, but an excellent defensive play made by Alyssa Kumiyama.
And those low-line drives that are right above the dirt are the hardest ones to catch, especially on the corners, not having that much time and just having the reaction. Nice job getting down to her knees. She had a ton more time to get a throw over there and double off Taylor Green at second base, but the throw just a little bit wide and takes McGuire off the bag.
Kayla Green now the batter. DH today is hitless in 2 at-bats. Arkansas trying to climb back in this game. You talk to coaches, you talk to managers, they say they want to be in that grand slam range by the final inning. Just give your team a chance when you're down this big. So if Arkansas can put up a couple of runs, 3 runs here, that would be ideal. As this ball is smacked foul. But the way Raley's pitching, and after that last play by Kumiyama, the way the cards are stacked today against Arkansas doesn't look very promising.
Well, it didn't yesterday either, being down 4-0 in the 6th. And here we are in the bottom of the 6th inning, a little bit more of a deficit. And you're going against Dixie Raley, who is completely different in the circle today and is getting the swings and misses way outside of the zone with that rise ball.
6 strikeouts for Dixie Raley as she continues to carve up the Arkansas hitters today. Boy, she is looking outstanding. Here's Ashley Diaz. She highlighted that big inning yesterday afternoon with a grand slam. Just her 2nd home run of the season. This ball is outside. That was actually that home run by Diaz yesterday That was her first extra base hit since March 2nd. She needed that big bop. And with Danielle Gibson being out, the team's leader in home runs, they need Diaz to really step forward. The senior out of South El Monte, California, going up against Dixie Raley here for the third time today. Diaz flied to center back in the second and walked in the fourth. Good pitch by Raley. Kind of pitching backwards against Diaz. That was a count where you generally would see a fastball on 2-0, but she went with the soft stuff. Kind of exhibits the kind of confidence she is having today as this ball is walloped deep to left field. Diaz watches this one fly way out of here. And a 2-run bop by Ashley Diaz pulls Arkansas within 5 runs here in the 6th inning. And that sparks some life into the Bogle crowd.
Exactly what you need right now for Arkansas. Not necessarily the long ball, but the momentum, the quality at bats, and getting the job done at the plate. Luckily, Taylor Green was on the base path because of the hit by pitch, and Ashley Diaz delivers her second home run in just 2 days. And she's had a really nice series against the South Carolina pitchers in the last 3 days.
That'll bring up Monzo. She hit a solo shot yesterday. Back-to-back with Ashley Diaz. Can the tandem do it again? Hard hit right side and through for a base hit. And Dixie Raley, she has pitched brilliantly today. Might be coming towards the end of her line. Beverly Smith, I would imagine trying to give the senior a chance to close out 6 strong frames, and I think that was maybe her chance.
She'll at least go have a conversation. Whether this means that she'll be pulled or not is a question, but Allie Monzo, that's her second hit of the day so far. She's seen the ball really well over the last 2 games. Had that home run, the solo shot after the Ashley Diaz grand slam. That was in the 6th inning, so apparently the 6th inning is a time to be an Arkansas fan.
I would like to see head coach Beverly Smith leave Dixie Raley in this game because she really has pitched so well, and she deserves. She's kind of earned this right to finish what she started.
Sure, and just work through having given up a home run and having given up another hit and coming back here with 2 outs. All she needs is 1 more, and then she'll have another chance in the 7th inning if she stays in. But I like this move. Keep her in and see what she can do and how she responds.
Facing the freshman to Colt Duncan here. Takes a pitch low. Duncan 0 for 1 today. She was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. And moves ahead 2-0 on Dixie Raley. Waiting on deck is Ryan Jackson, the junior transfer out of Bethune-Cookman. Jackson has not appeared in this series. Here you can look at Jackson in the background and Duncan in the foreground. That's a good pitch on 3-0. Duncan trying to persuade the umpire. Monzo at first, and the 3-1 is low for ball 4. And the last 3 Razorbacks have reached base. The 2-run shot by Diaz, the base hit into right field by Monzo, and now a walk to Nicole Duncan. And Ryan Jackson coming up in a big spot here, Megan, the junior transfer. And boy, if she can do some damage here, Courtney Deiffel would be very, very pleased.
And we don't need the home run ball necessarily for Arkansas to make a dent in this lead. Yeah, it would be nice. She does hold the Bethune-Cookman home run record with 17 in a season.
This is only her third at-bat this season. Her third at-bat in conference play. On the season for Jackson, she's just 5 for 22.
And her and Sydney Parr were battling out in that outfield position, left field.
And that hit her.
Nice.
Bases loaded for the powerful Lenny Malkin.
And how different is this game right now? Even the momentum, being down still 5 runs, but that big home run from Ashley Diaz, she put 2 on the board for Arkansas. Alimanzo comes up with a single over the right side of the field. Nicole Duncan gets the walk, and now the hit by pitch for the pinch hitter in Ryan Jackson. And Lenny Malkin has a lot of power. She's more than capable of getting Arkansas within 1 run of South Carolina, but it does look like Bev Smith is making that pitching change.
And I think they're going to go to Kayla Drodar. She was losing in the bullpen. As Alyssa Kumiyama checks out. And coming in now for South Carolina to play first base is Madison Owens. And I believe they're going to bring in Drodar as they call the Hogs here in Fayetteville. And there she is. She pitched very well on Friday night against Arkansas. 6 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. She pitched well enough for South Carolina to win. As Dixie Raley greeted on her way back to the dugout. Boy, she really did pitch well today.
And Sydney Parr will retake her place over at first base after the Ryan Jackson hit by pitch. A nice at bat. You get plunked and you get to go over to first base and load them up for the Hogs right here. But Kayla Drodar, the junior, she has that drop and that curve, the tail away from the righty, and it's really important for Lenny Malkin in this situation with 2 outs not to try to chase outside of the zone and welcome Drodar into the game, being patient and patiently aggressive at the same time, finding a pitch that's in her wheelhouse early in the count and not allowing Drodar to take advantage of any swings and misses and not get settled into her game in the circle. But if Drodar shows that changeup like she did back on Friday night, it's pretty dangerous. She throws it for a strike in a lot of counts, and it's hard to see coming off the back of her hand.
There you get a look at Lenny Malkin. Drodar making her 15th appearance and her 8th relief appearance. 6-4 record with a 3 ERA. She's given up 24 earned runs on 48 hits over 56 innings this year for South Carolina. She has given up a team high 7 home runs. Keep that in mind. Malkin's lone at bat against Drodar on Friday night was a strikeout. So these 2 players, a little bit of history, not much, but a little bit. Bases loaded. And Malkin rolls over one left side, into the hole and through for a base hit. Monzo will score, and that is all. But the train keeps rolling for Arkansas as it's now a 7-3 ball game.
And what I was thinking in my head is you do not have to end this with 1 swing at the at-bat. You just continue to punch that ball out into the infield, and Lenny does exactly that, right between the 5-6 hole. Really nothing that McGuire and Johns can do. Brings in Ali Monzo for the 3rd run here in the 6th inning for Arkansas, and now the top of the lineup with Hannah Mcewen.
Mcewen has 1 hit today and takes his pitch high, ball 1. Mcewen went 1 for 3 with a walk and a single against Drodar on Friday night. So a chance to tie the game as Arkansas threatening to come back from the abyss. 2 outs here in the 7th inning. All 3 of these runs have come with 2 outs. The 2-run home run by Diaz sparked this rally. After the bases were loaded up, Drodar came in, and Lenny Malkin delivered a base hit to left field. Mcewen at the plate. Takes outside. Oh, they call it a strike. Oh, goodness gracious. Generally, when the catcher leans one way or the other to make the reception, it didn't hit the strike zone.
Fans not happy about that call, but the momentum shift that has happened and the energy that's resurfacing within this stadium is all in favor of Arkansas at this point.
The 1-2, down and away, 2-2.
And reminder that the Hogs are more than capable of putting 7 up in an inning, as they did in the 6th last night after South Carolina came out early with that 4-0 lead and then gave it all up in the 6th. So they don't want history to repeat itself here today.
Check swing on a pitch down and in. They ask for the appeal, and no, says Steve McCown. Full count, bases loaded, nowhere to put her. And Drodar has her back to the wall.
And Fabian really wanted that call, but even from our angle up here, Hannah Mcewen didn't even get near breaking that plane.
Well, you can feel the energy rising here at the ballpark as the 3-2 is outside for ball 4. And another run is home for Arkansas as they continue to chip away at what was a 7-run deficit, has now diminished to 3. And they have batted around here in this 6th inning as Taylor Green, who led off the frame, being hit by that pitch and was along for the ride on Diaz's home run. She will get a chance to tie it, come up with a big play here. We'll see.
And Heidi Bugarin will come back in for Lenny Malkin over at second base to run. And nice job. Lenny Malkin comes in, that was 2 batters ago. First pitch swinging for Drodar, and that's her first pitch of the game. Gets a single RBI out of it. And then you follow up with a Hannah Mcewen walk, a really nice at bat, even after a questionable call on the outside part of the plate. Gets an RBI. 4-7 here. Just 3 runs down for the Hogs.
And Taylor Green, the freshman out of Milton, Georgia, showing her patience at the plate as Beverly Smith is up and out of the dugout. She has a couple of qualms with the plate umpire as well, asking where that last pitch missed. It's been kind of an adverse relationship for the umpiring crew today with both dugouts. Ball 1 to Green. Grounder to third, picked up by Johns. Takes it to the third base bag, and that does end the inning. But Arkansas does some damage here in the 6th and makes it a 7-4 game. Carolina will come to the plate in the top of the 7th with Kennedy Clark slated to lead off. Put 4 runs up in the home half, highlighted by a big 2-run home run from Ashley Diaz. So now to the top of the 7th. Carolina hunting for some insurance, trying to escape Fayetteville with a victory as they hold on to a 7-4 lead with a white-knuckle grip. Kennedy Clark, 5, 6, and 7 here in the order to lead things off against Mary Half, who, since coming in, has really pitched awfully well. She came in the 4th inning after a base hit by Jana Jones, jarred Autumn Storms from the game. Storms went the first 3 1/3 and gave up 7 runs, 6 of which were unearned. Ripped down the right field line by Clark. That is a fair ball as it bangs off the wall for a long hit. Warwick is up with it and into second base with a ringing double as Kennedy Clark, her 2nd knock of the game.
And all 4 of the South Carolina hitters that you called out, Clark, Bosal, McGuire, and Johns, have all had hits today. They have responded in a way that you want to see the Gamecocks respond offensively. 9 hits up on the board against 2 very good pitchers in Autumn Storms and Mary Half. Storms has had a great series against South Carolina. Only the 1 earned run today, and then the shot out into center field, and that is gone.
Wow. Alyssa Kumiyama with her 2nd home run of the series. And this is a big 2-run bop. And Carolina can breathe again as they create the tunnel for Alyssa Kumiyama to run through. Boy, what a big, big blow against the Hogs, but a huge, huge lift for Carolina.
That's the response that you want to see after giving up 4 in the 6th inning. They couldn't do it last night. They do it here in the top of the 7th. Huge blow and a really nice job showing off her power, the sophomore. I think maybe possibly one of the most underrated hitters on the South Carolina offense.
This one flown into the air off the bat of Jordan Fabian, caught by Duncan. Boy, that home run just deflating the momentum sail for Arkansas, making this a 9-4 game. Alyssa Kumiyama has homered twice in this series, both off Mary Half. There you see some dejection in that Arkansas dugout now. Lauren Stewart at the plate. She takes low and inside. Stewart singled and scored in the 5-run second inning and has twice grounded out.
And she's still looking for her first hit of the series. Minus the one she had in her first at bat. We make mistakes too.
You covered it up so well. It wouldn't have been so bad if I hadn't literally just said that she got a hit in the first.
I know.
Anyway, it's a Sunday. Here's a 2-1, and it's a little high. 3-1 the count.
And I even talked about it earlier. That was the punch up the middle, and she scored McGuire. That was back in the second inning.
Yeah, that was a big smash. She wound up on second base because of a miscue in the outfield and pops this one foul into the net. Huge response by the Gamecocks here in the 7th inning. A double from Clark and the 2-run blast by Kumiyama. And the offense has come out like gangbusters today for Carolina. They have feasted on 3 Arkansas mistakes, errors, and a couple of other miscues that have led to some other scoring chances as Stewart pulls this one foul. And give Carolina credit, they could have just kind of rolled over here in the top of the 7th inning and not really tried to get some insurance back after giving up 4 in the bottom half of the 6th, but the upperclassmen and the big bats that you need to step up have. Boy, a great pitch by Mary Half, and Stewart is down on strikes.
And the Gamecocks definitely realize the importance of this game. They need to come home with a victory against Arkansas and give them their first SEC conference win, but also momentum. They host Ole Miss, and Arkansas is actually going up against Tennessee next weekend, number 7 in the country right now. We'll see how that changes after all of the action going on around the nation in softball.
Katie Preble getting an at-bat here in the 7th inning. The All-American transfer from Gardner-Webb. Yes, it is always good to get a win in a series, but it's even better to get it on a getaway day. Makes that flight back home to Columbia a little bit more relaxing. Nine to 4, 16th ranked South Carolina, as Preble whacks this one foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Arkansas in the 7th inning will have Katie Warwick, Kayla Green, and Ashley Diaz slated to bat. That trio of hitters is a combined 1 for 8 today. Diaz hit the home run as the lone hit. 2-2 to Preble. Good pitch. Right on the outside corner, and that ends the inning. But Carolina did what they needed to do. They came back with a vengeance and grabbed some more insurance in the top of the 7th. A leadoff double by Kennedy Clark and a big 2-run home run by Alyssa Kumiyami. Makes it a 9-4 ball game. Hogs coming to bat for the final time. Bottom of the 7th inning, Katie Warwick will get things started here for Arkansas against Kayla Drodar. Drodar came in relief of Dixie Raley, who went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, struck out 6, and walked a couple. She is in line to pick up the victory. It would be her 6th on the season. Drodar looking for the save. She's got 2 of those. And Warwick will start things off.
Dixie Raley, up until the 6th inning, had a really nice going. The 5 complete innings that she had, and then it was the big shot from Ashley Diaz and the 2-run home run. Back-to-back singles.
Ground ball, bounce back up the middle. It's a base hit for Warwick. And if you're Arkansas, that's the kind of start you need. See if Courtney Deifel will go to that elite base running reservoir that she has. And indeed she will. She will pick Keely Edwards to pop off the bench and come into pinch run.
And these teams, though they may have speed between the base paths, they don't steal a lot. Neither of these coaches are very aggressive within the base paths.
Taylor Green will hit now. She takes low, or Kayla Green, I beg your pardon. Green is 0 for 3 today. She's kind of had a scuffling day at the plate, grounded into a double play, which ended the 1st inning. That was Arkansas's initial scoring threat. She got robbed of a base hit in the 4th inning on a tremendous diving play made by Kennedy Clark in left field, and then struck out swinging in the 6th. Ball and a strike. Green with 5 home runs this season does possess that type of power if needed. We've seen kind of an up and down wind here at Bogle Park. Gusts of wind up to 20 miles an hour, it seems.
And that changeup from Drotar doesn't look the same that it did back on Friday. She doesn't have the same command in throwing that for a strike.
Big swing. 2-2 to Green.
And Kayla Green had that 2-run home run against her in that first inning to put Arkansas up 2-0 back on that Friday night game.
Fouled into the mitt of Fabian. Strike 3. One away here in the 7th. Carolina 2 outs away from collecting their first conference win of the season. Diaz at the plate. She homered in her last at-bat. A no-doubter over the left field wall. Bats with Keely Edwards at first base. Lunge for that one. Ball and a strike. Two balls and a strike. Arkansas down 7-0 at one point. Clawed their way back. But Alyssa Kumiyama has been clutch in this game. She hit a big 2-run home run to deflate the sails. Drodar tries to get on the same page. A little low when it's ball 4.
That's Diaz's 5th walk over the last 3 games, and however this game ends for Arkansas, that is a bright spot in the lineup right there. A lot of patience at the plate as she's going to be run for by Sam Torres coming over to first. But 5 walks. She has the eye, and she had the grand slam. I mean, that's the cherry on top, really, the grand slam and the 4 RBI in yesterday's game in the 2-run shot back last inning. But she is just re-finding her comfortability in the box and finding really getting her swing back a lot more as of late.
And keep in mind, too, Diaz on Friday, or on Wednesday, I beg your pardon, she came in to replace Danielle Gibson in the first inning. And that's really when things kind of got rolling for Ashley Diaz. She went 2 for 4 on Wednesday.
She wasn't even in the lineup.
Yeah, she wasn't even in the lineup. So she's really taken full advantage of being thrusted into that full-time first base big bopper in the middle of the lineup.
And she's been dealing with some injuries herself, so trying to get healthy, the entire Arkansas lineup.
Monzo slaps this one out to left. Clark there to make the play. And I'm sure that conversation that Beverly Smith just had with her junior right-hander, Kayla Drodar, was very direct and succinct, I can imagine.
And at this point, she's just 1 out away from securing the victory for South Carolina and heading back to Columbia with the win.
Colt Duncan steps in. She takes upstairs, ball 1. Duncan has been on base twice today with a hit by pitch and a walk. She struck out in her other at-bat, her only timed plate appearance. First and second with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. South Carolina in front 9-4. Dixie Raley pitched brilliantly earlier today, 5 2/3 innings. And Kayla Drodar, Friday night starter, trying to pick up the save. Good changeup flutters across the zone. And we've seen that quite a bit, those 2-0 changeups. Duncan gave it a ride, but it will land foul. 2-2 to Nicole Duncan. Runners at first and second. Edwards is the lead runner at second, and Torres the trail runner at first. Hogs down by 5. As Carolina tries to get into the win column in conference play. Fouled at the plate. A win today would move Carolina to 21-7 overall, and 1-5 in league play. Arkansas would drop to 21-7 and move to 3-3 in conference play. The 2-2.
And you've got to love this battle right now. Nicole Duncan, she'll see her 7th pitch on the next one delivered by Kayla Drotar.
Three balls and 2 strikes.
And the entire infield going and giving some words of encouragement to their pitcher, trying to will her into one more strike to get off the field and get out of Fayetteville.
Fouled away again. And Nicole Duncan not going down without a fight. Freshman infielder out of Centralia, Missouri. Fouled away.
And I know we've talked about it throughout the series this weekend, but she came in as a catcher, and she has impressed me thoroughly over at second base and the way that she's played on the right side of the field. Didn't get a lot of playing time last year in her freshman season, but she's been solid here.
3-2, tough take, called ball 4. And Duncan, boy, she really worked for that walk. That was an excellent at-bat. Megan, she's had a number of plate appearances this weekend where she has just looked phenomenal at the plate.
And she's been on base 3 times, a hit by pitch in her first at bat. She did strike out against Dixie Raley, one of the 6 strikeout victims, and then 2 walks in a row. And that at bat was awesome. She had 10 pitches that she saw, and she fouled off 5 of them.
So now Sydney Parr is up. And Parr fouls this one away. Remember, Sydney Parr has twice been called out because of being out of the batter's box on the swing. So she must be extremely cognizant of that. And remember, Ryan Jackson pinch hit for her back in the 6th inning, and Parr came in to pinch run for her, so. This ball slapped down the left field line. It's a base hit. Clark dives to knock it down. 1 run is in. Torres will come home to score. And how about Sydney Parr lacing one down the left field line to make it a 9-6 ball game and bring the tying run to the plate here in the bottom of the 7th.
And that's a nice job by the junior of just poking that ball out into left field. From up here, it did look like her foot was out of the box, but the umpires did not see that. So it goes down as a clean hit and 2 RBI for the slapper. And now it's up to a senior. With 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning, they've responded with the 2 spot after South Carolina put up 2 in the top of the inning, and a really nice job, nice piece of hitting in the triple threat from Sydney Parr.
I think Beverly Smith is having that conversation with the plate umpire about Parr being out of the box, but now Courtney Deifel's going to walk down from third base and have a word with Heidi Bugarin. Coach Deifel was all smiles down there, just giving some words of encouragement to Bugarin.
Yeah, and that's all that is right there, is that words of encouragement and the "you can do this, I totally believe in you." And Heidi Bugarin has shown her shown her power at times, but it's the consistency in the box that has kind of been lacking, and you'd really like to see the senior step up in this moment.
She represents the tying run here in the bottom of the 9th inning as Arkansas down to their final out. Remember, all 4 of their runs in the 6th inning came with 2 outs. All the runs here in the 7th, all with 2 outs. Parr is at first base. Duncan is on second. And Drodar misfires outside, 2-0. Hannah Mcewen is on deck.
South Carolina puts up 9 runs on 10 hits. 7 of them are unearned, but their offense came to play today. Arkansas defensively didn't do a great job, but they have responded with 6 in the last 2 innings.
And Bugarin out in front of this one.
And you just think how different would this game have been had that second inning not happened for South Carolina with the 5 spot they put in the top of the inning.
It's been a really fun day at the ballpark today. Good back and forth, especially over the last couple of innings. As Bugarin nubs this one to third. Everybody's going to be safe. How about that, Megan Turk? Wow. Bases loaded.
Even on a miss hit, you'll absolutely take it. And Heidi Bugarin, instead of getting frustrated that she mishit that ball, she saw that it was going to be fair and sprinted down the line to make sure that she was safe. That is a great job for the senior. Heads up to get over to first base and reach safely.
And now you bring up Hannah Mcewen. She came up with the bases loaded in the 6th inning. Arkansas down at that point.
Are those dinosaurs?
Well, we haven't really talked about it. We haven't talked about it at all. South Carolina had the Skittles and the Starburst
Yes.
as their kind of
The incentive,
superstition.
yep.
Yeah, and, well, I guess dinosaurs for Arkansas. How about that?
Whatever. But now you're at the top of the lineup, Hannah Mcewen.
And she swings at the first pitch, pops it up, and McGuire makes the play, and South Carolina, gritting their teeth the entire way, holds on to win it and get out of Fayetteville with a series finale victory, 9-6 over the 14th-ranked Razorbacks here this afternoon.
And you have to love the offensive response, putting up 9 on 10 hits from the Gamecocks. Arkansas, on the other end, it's the defensive part of their game that they really need to clean up. The 3 errors, 7 unearned runs alone against Autumn Storms, only one of them across the plate that was an earned run. Dixie Raley through 5 did really well. Drotar came in for South Carolina and ended this game, comes away with the victory for the Gamecocks. And Arkansas is going to have to bounce back against Tennessee next weekend, but they do get the series win, the first since 2010 against South Carolina and the first under Courtney Deifel's reign.
Final totals, Carolina scored 9 runs. They had a grand total of 10 hits today, did not commit an error in the field, and Arkansas scored 6 runs